Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today is something that makes me a little bit sad because it's over, and the ending was very sad in many ways. It also makes me happy because I felt like it was a logical conclusion. Also makes me happy since entertainment is crap nowadays. So we get to have some good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for everyone coming in for our finale, the Elfstones of Shannara. I have with me from a slightly northern location from where I am located, it is Princess Rennie.
Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Stig. How are you folks this morning?
Doing good, doing good. I got a nice pot of tea. It's called Glittering Gold.
Oh, nice.
I have one too. It's called Earl Grey.
I love Earl Grey. It's a basic but good tea. Like it's just like a standard that I just have to have at home all the time, you know?
Yeah. Oh no, I have a thing of Earl Grey. Well, I have some things that I have been sent, and also Lady Grey. Lady Grey is got a bit of different taste to it.
Oh,
Do you
that's
still
great.
have more of that tea I sent you left?
Yes, that's what I was referring to. I didn't want to necessarily say it. Yes. Steve,
I don't know. You know, it's been
no,
a
it's-
while though. What the hell's wrong with you? Drink it.
Well, I have
Finish
about.
your tea, lady.
I'm careful here. Okay, I've got about 4 bags of it left. Okay, Steve. When Steve sends me stuff, I really like to stretch it out because I don't get the awesome Norwegianness of what he gets every day. So I don't want to gobble it all up in one day.
Yeah, but it's been like a year.
She wants to savor it.
Yeah, I've got 4 bags left. It's good stuff. Thank you, Rennie, for coming in on my side. Uh, yes. So, oh my. That's how rumors get started, Rennie. In any case, yeah, our private chat is very rude, and actually, it's very rude to refer to that because I know that our normal chat can't be a part. But at Miss Mert Muses, I try to keep it PG-13. We'll see how well that occurs today. Well, we also have from a northern hemisphere, where it is very, 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 very cold. It is the one, the only, the Viking Steve Kenobi.
Hello. Yes, it's we had a little bit of a downpour again, so it's icy with a little crust of dry snow on top of it. And the roads are glittering.
Oh, like my tea.
Your tea is glittering?
It's called Glittering Gold.
I didn't think it would actually glitter.
Well, it doesn't, but it's the name. But
Hmm.
well, so it's treacherous. So when every time you step outside, you might die.
Yeah, but that's every day in Norway. Everyone's out to kill you.
Yeah.
Had to decapitate a couple of Girl Scout bastards the other day. They had knives.
Jeez.
Well, can you give us a report from the future?
Prince Harry's a twat.
Well, that's the past, the present, and the future. Well, we know what happened. Oh wait, it wasn't his twat that had an issue. It was, well, maybe something he got from Megan's twat.
No, he got a BJ from Megan, and it left a frostbite on his willy.
I can't.
Yeah, that's the real way he got frostbite on his winger dinger.
Yeah,
He claims he got it in Antarctica.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What did you
Believe it or not, this is stuff that he volunteered.
Oh my god.
It was in his book. And not only that, he used his mother's face cream while he rubbed it on his, you know what, and said he felt her presence in the room when he smelled the face cream.
Oh, that's just
So
cringe.
he felt her presence on his frostbitten penis.
And we're not making it up.
I mean, self-admitted, so there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you really want to be traumatized, find the Audible excerpt that's been circulating on Twitter and listen to him read it aloud.
Yeah. It puts face cream on its willy or it gets the Megan.
Well, I think we're still PG-13. I'm not sure, but hey, that's the report that's coming from the future, and I'm sure we're gonna get more. Of course, Steve knows what's really happening in Britain.
It's cool until someone gets a frostbite.
Well, you're giving yourself away with all your England news. We know that you're really not in Norway. You are in Downton Abbey.
She gave him the willies.
Oh, oh gosh. Well, on that note, let's say hi to the chat. Jacob Ironside is here. Yay! And I know that you have been reading this. It's the ending. The second we knew what the ending was, it's like, thank goodness we can talk about it. Black Pilled Timon Flip is here. How black pilled are you? He just finished Alice in Borderland second season. 4 first episodes are good. The rest is shit. Slowly, corny, badly written shit. Okay, very black pilled. Thank you. Oh, there's me. Black pilled to oh, he's very pissed off. Okay, Rennie's here. Mr. Brown Alliance. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see everyone here saying hi. We got a lot of mods. Yes, we do. We love our mods here at Miss Martin Muses. Soul Assassin. Hello, Soul Assassin. Thank you for being here as always. Great to see you. And everyone saying hi. We don't have any animals yet. No animals. So no nose boops or icebergs. Sorry, I'm hiding my cream.
The polar bear's missing.
Yeah, the polar bear is missing. Correct. I think he's not reading the book, so he doesn't want to be spoiled. But yeah, usually we get a paw wave from him. Maybe he'll come in a little bit. Thank you. Oh, look at Rennie. That's Rennie saying thank you to everyone. Soul Assassin says can never have enough mods. Nah, and I appreciate you all being here. I want to give y'all a little nod. I had some chai tea. Yeah, I just had to hide the cream because my Benedict was going for it. But he doesn't make noise, so it's okay.
Unlike Harry, you actually hid the cream.
Well, for those of you that are curious, it's Elizabeth Arden cream. So I'm never bothered with that. Black Pill Timon. Brazil is a coffee country. Tea only when one is sick. Oh, there's some logic to that. He had some good medicinal qualities. Soul Assassin, I just got regular tea from a faraway location called HEB. Well, while we're at it, if you go to HEB, you can get Jarlsberg Norwegian cheese. Make it with make a grilled cheese sandwich with Jarlsberg and put some oregano on it. And no, I did not come up with that on my own. That was recommended to me by Stieg, and it is very good cheese that you can find at HEB. Soul Assassin says, so he got a chili.
Yep.
Yes.
Markle made him sparkle with frost.
Oh, gross. Well, Jacob Ironside said, well, Harry is a D-head.
Wait, a D-head? Is that a dickhead, sir?
Oh.
He was just asking for clarification.
That's true. Thank you, Steve. Always helpful.
You're welcome.
HEB is awesome. Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, wait. Now you've made me curse. I've been trying for New Year's. I've been trying to get rid of that last vice. It's not.
Yeah, you've failed.
I have failed. And Soul Assassin there. Yes, where the mod squad says black pilled Timon HEB chai tea. They also have good coffee. What is it? What is that coffee that they have? It's really good, and so I always have to bring it to my mom and dad.
Oh, is it the one with the hamburger and the Snickers bar in it?
What?
No, actually, they like normal coffee. It's
Oh, so you admit that the other one is abnormal. Thank you.
Teresa likes her foo-foo coffees. You leave her alone.
yeah. Thank you, Rennie. Thank you, Rennie, for defending me.
Simp.
You know, today I went a little fancy myself. I am more of a coffee person in the morning than tea, just because I guess I've just gotten into the habit of that. But I do like tea sometimes in the late morning and afternoon. But I had coffee with Milo in it. And Milo is kind of like
Yiannopoulos?
No, what?
That Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever it is?
Oh, no. It's an Australian chocolate mix. It's kind of similar to Ovaltine, but a little bit different. So we always keep that in the house, having an Aussie here. So I decided to mix it into my coffee one day, and I'm like, oh, every so often this is a nice little treat. So I really like it with Milo and sweetened condensed milk. Makes it a little foo-foo, almost like a mocha.
Oh.
I just
Yeah.
drink black coffee, which
Oh,
apparently is sexist now. Did you see that?
No.
Why is that?
Yeah, feminist crazies said that if you're drinking black coffee, you're faking being an alpha male.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Not
Yes,
from you, but that
'cause
someone said.
Yeah, because I just drink black coffee because I'm lazy,
Mm.
which
So you've
isn't
never
very
been known
alpha.
you've never been known to put milk at least in your tea
Like coffee.
or coffee, rather.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
It's just a cup with coffee in it.
Ovaltine the elf. Yes, I remember it. Ovaltine is weird. It's like drinking sand.
Well, this is
What,
a
like-
little bit different. It's kind of like a malty chocolate, but the thing I can compare it to the most is Ovaltine, but it doesn't have that weird texture, but it tastes better.
Yeah. So you heard it from Steve. It's not because he's trying to be alpha. That's just laziness.
Yeah, I'm just lazy, which is the opposite of alpha.
Nothing wrong with that. I endorse laziness. Hey, look, it is JT Gunn Late Night with Cap America's Ass is here. Hello, been a while. I am sorry. No worries. Just glad you're here. I'm going to be appearing with him talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind in a few weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yay. Yeah, on Jacob's channel. Always fun. I love Close Encounters of the Third Kind because it's when we musicians, especially those who work with elementary, were vindicated that that's how they communicate with aliens. It's solfege. So all you little kindergartners, I'm preparing you to talk with aliens. And they do the hand signs at the end. That's a thing in elementary music. So
Nice.
So screw you all. I was saving the earth during half of my career. It's so la, so, lo, so, and do, just so you know. But I digress. I take my coffee black and with sugar. Oh, take away a little bit of that bitterness.
I don't have any sweetener today, so I'm just drinking plain Earl Grey, which is surprisingly better than I remembered. So I'll save money on sweetener stuff now.
Well, think about it this way. All the sugar you need is your sweet personality.
Oh, yeah, and I have diabetes, so.
Oh. Awkward silence. Okay.
I know. I was loving
I'm like,
it.
I don't know what to say to that.
I know. I was just staying quiet to say, I know they're hurting inside now. They don't know what to say. So I just shut the fuck up and
I know,
let
just
it
sit there,
happen.
like mouth like semi-open, eyes just looking around, going, "What do I
Yeah,
say to that?"
and everyone's thinking, was he offended? Did I offend him? No, like, let them think it.
You meanie.
Well, well, okay, thank you. Yes, hi everyone. Says JT. Well, let's go ahead with the chapter 46, which I had open, but Stieg had to go and do that bomb, and lost my place.
You dropped the bomb stick?
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew he had diabetes, but come on.
I
Don't
know.
be trying to make me feel guilty.
Well, it's just the shit diabetes though. It's not the born with.
Yeah. So you're saying you were not born this way?
No.
So you're anti Lady Gaga then?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no. Well, Lady Gaga's a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
She keeps wanting people to poke her face.
I think she probably does. Just gonna leave it at that.
All right. So here we go.
She looks
Here
like the
we
type
go.
that pokes other people's faces. To be honest.
Ew.
Are you saying she's got a little surprise under that skirt?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh.
Teresa.
There is a diabetes for your shit.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a diabetes for everyone. Diabetes is very inclusive. Well, speaking of not inclusive, we have chapter 45 where Eretria let them out. She got them out and they were like, now we need to find Wisp. The first sentence is, they found him almost immediately. So much for that. And he's like, pretty one, help, talk with Wisp. Speaking of Stimps. But Will's starting to lose his crap. He says, one more word and I will snap your neck. And then he goes, take me where she keeps that box.
Yeah, because the little bastard is annoying as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but don't you kind of pity him? Because you can tell that Malinro, like from what he says, she kind of twisted and mutated him with her magic. And yes, he serves the lady, but it's because he's compelled to, because he's been enchanted and probably tortured and beaten for so long. Who knows what she's done to him? I kind of found him to be a tragic character, and I kind of felt sorry for him.
Mm.
That's when you and I differ.
Oh.
Steve has no sympathy.
Not for that one. I hate him.
Well, Will doesn't like him. He
guy.
calls him a little fur ball.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so while they're like, take us to the Elfstones, a bell sounds. Wisp slumps down. Morag comes. Which is the twin sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that there was some funny moments. We'll wait till I get there. But as he's like, bad, very bad. And Will's like, who cares about Morag? Let's get the Elfstones. He says it's in a room at the top of the stairs in a box with pretty flowers, red and gold.
And you cheered, didn't you, when you heard that they were red?
I do like the color red. Everyone knows that.
I couldn't tell. I just think you.
What I love is suddenly there's a bunch of shrieking. And I'm like, oh no, there's gonna be a cat fight. And Morag and more Malinro are fighting. It's like, my power is as strong as yours, sister. She's like, you know nothing, shrieked the other one. Be still, foolish one. Malinro goes, the Elfstones are mine. I have them. It was meant for me. And they're saying a lot of one-liners back and forth. And as they're fighting back and forth, suddenly they like conjure some big ass flame thing. There's a brilliant flash and green fire burned the length of the root. Oh, but I want to point out they were scratching and clawing like cats. So he even said so. So they're fighting so bad that they conjure this big fire that gets out of control, and everyone got singed from it. The tatter itself began to shudder, and the stickmen were burning. And they self-emulate
Immolate, even.
Oh, immolate. What did I say?
You said emulate. That would mean they copied each other. Or, yeah.
You heard it from Lord Stigglesby the Third from Downton Abbey, where he is sipping Earl Grey.
Yes.
So on they go. The magic had made them and kept them and died with them. Then something awesome happens. Because the magic died with them, that meant that Herbal or Hebel and the doggy come back to life.
Yeah, I love that part. I was like, when they found them, I was like, yay! Okay, it's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to hold back and not say something last time because you guys were like, Hebo and the dog, I'm broken.
Well, it was sad because even though he didn't know them and he seemed like a bitter old man, like he sacrificed himself for elflings, which he stated in the previous chapter that he hated. So I thought that was nice. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, and he goes, "What was I doing in that closet for cat's sake?"
Yeah. But that was very PG.
Oh no!
He wanted to say something he would have said something that started with an F.
Well, true. I thought it was cute, and we know that he hates cats.
Good man.
Knew you were going to say that.
Mm-hmm. So while they're all yay, suddenly they felt a shadow, and they were like, "Oh crap! Dun dun dun! It's Tywin." But hello, thank you, and hello, Matt G, bringing the bacon. It is the Reaper, and we fear the Reaper here at Miss Martin Muses. We know they are FUCKED. And so they ran down a stairwell, all this stuff, and then they ended up in a trap door where the Reaper was nowhere to be seen. But we know, and everyone knows, just because the Reaper is not to be seen does not mean that he is gone, because the Reaper comes from you. So that is the end of this chapter. Jacob Ironside has a good question here. Do you all think it was a little bit of an easy way out that the witch sisters killed each other?
Yeah. It was very convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It was, but I like the explanation that their magic basically canceled each other out because it kind of neutralized each other's magic, and therefore, because they couldn't do it on each other, but whenever it combined, it wound up killing them both because of the way it neutralized it. I don't know. It's interesting to me. Yeah. But yeah, I do think it was an easy way out. But at the same time, it's like, oh, thank God they're gone. Bye.
Mm-hmm. The timing kind of fit, though, because Morag had sensed that she had sensed the Elfstones.
True.
Yeah.
They appeared quickly and left just as quickly. Easy come, easy go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was logical, but yeah, convenient. I'm like Rennie, though. It's like, thank goodness they're gone. Stupid witches.
I know.
I think they could have probably beaten the Reaper. Given that they were so all-powerful in that area.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen that because, you guys noticed that when they were in her house, the Reaper didn't really come after them?
No, it was just looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't, go in the house or anything, and I was kind of expecting, at least a semi-showdown, and that didn't happen. So maybe there was some sort of, magic force field or something to keep the evil beings away. I don't know. Just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he seems to track. It's either their scent or the magic in the Elfstones. I'm not sure how he tracks people.
Yeah. Well, they've made it. Sorry.
If it was the magic, then the magic from the witches might have put him off track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Because remember, she freaked out and she was like, "A demon here? Oh no!" And it made it sound like she was going out to look for him, but
She
nothing ever
did.
came of it. Yeah, but nothing ever came of it. So I was kind of disappointed or let down in the lack of showdown between witch and demon. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well, at least that part of it's over. So
yeah. I think it served to remind us the Reaper was still around and the Reaper was trying to get in. It was foreshadowing maybe that what was going to come.
yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Hello, Keck 44. Hello. Yeah. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Wow. So that's that chapter. Anything anyone wants to say before we move on to chapter 46? Speak now or forever destroy your happiness.
I mean, I think we've said pretty much all there is to say about it.
Yep. And now we're moving forward. Will asks Hebel, who very conveniently is alive, where is Spire's reach? Can't be certain, can't see anyone. So they ask Wisp. And he starts shaking him. Wisp, answer me. Wisp serves the lady, serves the lady. He's like, she's dead, you dumbass. I added dumbass. Don't hurt Wisp. It reminded me of that scene in Airplane. Yeah, they're all shaking that hysterical woman.
Oh my god.
and then Eretria goes, you frighten him half to death. Let me handle this. And he's like, pretty thing? She's like, it's all right, Wisp. Pretty thing takes care of me. She says, I'll take care of you. Will you help us? And he goes, for you, pretty thing. Good, Wisp. When in doubt, if you have a hot chick, you can get everything you want. So she's like, can you take us to Spire's Reach? I will take you, pretty one. And Retri goes, I told you needed me. Oh, but then meanwhile, as they're going along, Amber is like stumbling and tired and had to be picked up. Her head rests on his shoulder. She's just really wrecked. It's very, very sad. And not much. He starts to think about some of the battle, feels a little bit of despair, but get over it, dude. We want to keep going. So finally, Wisp goes, safe hold, pretty thing, there. Then Eretria is like, now what? Good question. Eretria, ask him about a door made of glass that will not break. But meanwhile, they realize that the fire that the witch ladies had done, it kind of got out of control. Help me out if I'm wrong here. That witch power very conveniently gave the glass interior light for them, and that enabled them to find the quote unquote glass door.
Well,
which, if I'm wrong, yeah, help me.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. Okay.
No, Wisp like shows them what the glass that cannot break is, or that can't be broken, or whatever they say. But yeah, I was surprised though, since you guys mentioned the magic dying with them, they never mentioned Wisp like turning back into like a normal elf.
Yeah, which means he has always been like that.
Yeah.
Or if he's mutated, it's different than actually just shape changing someone with a spell.
Yeah, because he said the lady changed him to make him cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what was the purpose of the smokeless light that came from the witch's tower? Because he does say Wisp is like light.
No, that's inside the catacomb.
Okay.
He basically finds a flashlight.
Okay, and he hands him lamps, but it does say that alive with the same smokeless light that had burned throughout the witch sister's tower. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically made. It's the same kind of device. It's
Oh,
kind of like a magical lamp.
Okay, like this a lantern, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was
okay.
thinking. But didn't it say like whenever they killed each other, there was like a quick flash of light or something like that? Or am I thinking of something else?
Mm,
Because that's where
well,
my brain was going too.
yeah. No, it's just basically the witch probably has taken the stuff from those old catacombs, and
Yeah.
a lot of those torches, and basically used them around her place, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was anyway.
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense.
Because he found the lights inside the catacomb. Because they were like, we don't have a torch or anything, and then
Yeah. I was confused maybe about the significance of it. Perhaps I was reading too much into it.
No, you're fine because I was a little curious myself. I didn't really quite have the answer to that, so I'm glad that Steve brought that up. So that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yay, thank you. So, make a long story short, they find the waterfall. Here, Wisp repeated, the door made of glass that will not break. And Amberly goes, Will, he means the waterfall. Look closely where the water spreads out between those rocks above the pool. And when Will did that, he saw that the waterfall fell into the pool in a thin, even sheet between twin columns of rock, causing it to look very much as if it was a door made of glass. But it's not
Yeah,
glass, says Eretria, it's just water. But would the Elcris remember that? Amberly countered quickly. It has been so long for her, much of what she much knew is been lost in time.
I thought that was pretty cool. It's like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of a waterfall as a door made of glass that can't be broken, you know?
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, because I kept racking my brain. I'm like, what could the possibilities be? I didn't think of water.
Yeah. It's like a riddle.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
yeah.
And I'm glad that Amberly was there to remind us that the Elcris doesn't always remember mundane things from the other world. She also would only communicate with images.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. And then they start to look around, and Amberly starts to feel like the force or something, and she finds that there's a large boulder. She goes there. She goes to the boulder and stops. Here, she says, come no closer, Will. They faced each other wordlessly. There was a look of desperation and fear. Placing her slim body against the boulder, she shoved. White fire exploded from the earth. Upward toward the roof of the cavern it lifted, and it began to turn the color of blood. Dun, dun, dun. And into that fire, Amberly disappeared. Wisp got
And
all worried. Oh, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
Wisp freaks out
Yes.
Yeah.
because he's afraid of fire because he's furry.
Mm-hmm. He's like, the lady, she burns, and his mind snaps. Wrenching free of Eretria, he ran from the chamber, screaming the long wail of anguish. Eretria says, come back. But it was too late. They heard him pass through the waterfall. He was gone. In the crimson glare of the blood fire, the three who remained faced one another wordlessly. So they're in the blood fire.
I thought that was cool. That like it was the fire looked pretty much just regular or like white, and then once it noticed the chosen and the seed, it turned like a blood red. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Yeah. See, what were you going to say?
Nothing. I coughed.
Oh. Oh my gosh. No. I like those things where you just get a little bit revealed that makes you go, aha.
Like, hey,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah, I endorse aha moments for certain. All
Yeah, I
right,
do
well,
too.
so that's the end of chapter 46. So, these chapters are a lot shorter than the other ones. Anything before we move on as I change the banner?
I'm just curious as to, and I know this is a minor detail, but what is Wisp going to be doing? Where do you run off to? Because he has like literally no purpose. Is he going to find some other like evil creature to serve, or is he going to wind up, surviving on his own? I don't know. I just thought that was kind of an afterthought when I was reading those chapters.
Well, also, before that happened, we know that the Reaper had entered the place.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't
unfortunately.
I don't like the Reaper. He sucks.
Yeah, he can go bye-bye.
Yeah, Terminator. He's our Michael Myers. You can't stop him. He's unstoppable.
True.
Well, or is he? Because, as we find, and the next chapter says Jacob Ironside was intense. Yes, this is where.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I basically started reading this and couldn't stop. I just finished the whole daggone thing. You really couldn't. There was just too much excitement happening. But in the next instant, Will realized he could no longer see Amberly. And he was starting toward the blood fire to find out when the scream sounded, high and terrible. Eretria says, Wisp. She was already moving toward the passageway, but when they heard something pass through the waterfall, not Wisp, Will knew. This was something much bigger than Wisp. And we all knew. And the dog's neck bristled in fear. Behind me, Will motioned. It was the Reaper. And I'm like, they are so screwed.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I would not have been surprised at this point if he decided to kill off some of the main characters. Because Amberly was the most important one. So if he decided to let Will die, it was possible. In my humble
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Will, his purpose is to keep Amberly safe, so he could have died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eretria could.
I kept thinking Hebel was gonna bite it because I didn't remember the characters. I think, okay, he probably croaks both him and the dog.
Yeah.
Though that would have sucked if she brought him back to life only to kill him.
I know. It's like, oh man, that poor man can't catch a break.
No. And his poor dog being collateral damage. What did the dog do?
Exactly. Just an innocent bystander, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Will began to shake. The fear within him so strong that it was like a living thing. I can totally relate. But there was something about the fire that disturbed the Reaper. The demon studied the blood-red flames. The fire did not appear to threaten. It simply burned. So the Reaper, while he watched it, he was disturbed. He then decided to go forward. And this is when Will had a flashback to his dreams. It was the Reaper that had pursued him all this time. There was no escape. He calls up, Al-Anon, help me. And he found the druid's words floating in the sea of unreason fear. Believe in yourself. Believe. Have confidence in yourself. Or say, have confidence. I depend on you. Use the force. He gathered the words. He didn't say use the force. Oh gosh, Amberly got hot. Yes, he did. Oh, got the popcorn going. I think that's popcorn. Snail Messiah, hello. Tits are really nice, especially
He's talking about birds. At
birds.
first I was like,
Okay. What? Oh, you dirty people. Hello. Oh, all right. I was like, did we say anything about a bird? Okay. So now Will decides that he is going to use the Elfstones. It is really clear that if he doesn't use the Elfstones, they are all going to die. And then, oh gosh, and then Eretria. This is where Eretria kind of becomes a bit of an MVP. She decides to bring the Reaper's attention to herself, even though it might mean that she was going to die, but she wanted to buy time for Will. And so well done, Eretria. I'm sorry.
And the dog too.
Oh gosh, I know. And he broke his legs. I was so sad.
Yeah, because the Reaper was about to slash Will,
Mm-hmm.
and the dog kind of held him back, and he was biting at him or something.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was like, dang.
And the Reaper fucked him up.
That's a savage dog, though. He's like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't care who you are.
Yeah. And I will admit, a cat would not have done that.
They'd be like, see ya.
Yeah.
The cat would have laid down and watched.
Yeah. You're right. They're a bunch of psychos. It's like, let me jump up onto this ridge so I can get a better view.
I'll
But
sit by the warm fire and watch you die.
well, in any case, so while he's buying this time, Will is coming face to face with himself, and he became filled with hope. And to make a very long story short, he realizes that the man blood had resisted. It was the man blood that the non-elven part of him that rejected the magic. And if it were so, then what could he do? And he saw the deception he had worked upon himself. And he said that the mix of man blood and elven blood was no different now than it had been then. So essentially, if I'm correct, he realizes that he was getting his headspace was what had changed. It wasn't anything else, and he realized
he was overthinking it and got an erectile dysfunction.
Well, I was thinking of it more as a mental block, but yeah. So yes, Teresa, I believe what you're saying is correct, but in different words, but same as what Steve said.
Yes. I know that I have been guilty of that, getting my own head getting in the way.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a thing. Soul Assessment says a cap would have helped the Reaper. Yeah, maybe would have. And I totally made a big mark in my book for this. So saying that the Elfstone had done something to his spirit, and as understanding flooded through him, it was not the mix of his man blood with the elven blood that was shutting him for. Oh, it was fear of the magic. Yeah, the fear. So he overcomes this fear, and this is so cool. He thinks of his grandfather, Shay, blah blah blah, the help of the ancestors, inspiration, and fire exploded from his hands into the demon. So he, like, when he was finally able to realize the only thing he had to fear was fear himself, the power he was able to unleash, and it also served as a shield for himself. And the Reaper kept springing back and circling and was getting frustrated. And it was at this point that the dog helped him get some more time. And look at him. Frantically, he shoved Eretria aside and brought up the Elfstones. Like a cat, the demon landed before him, massive and soundless. I guess he's saying the cat is a bad. He doesn't like cats either. Slowly, the black hole of the cowl widened. Frieden Will Umsfeld with his empty stare. The Veilman could not move. The blacklist held him. And then then the voice of Alanon called to him, seek the Reaper's face. Seek his face. So then the Reaper... it tore through the Reaper's faceless cowl, the magic, and it hung upon him with blue fire as the demon whirled in fury and then exploded in a flare of blinding light, and all that remained of the Reaper was charred remains and an outline, rather, against the rock, kind of like a nuclear shadow thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting that the magic in the Elfstone, right?
Hmm.
It releases a kind of like a blue beam, a blue fire beam, which is the same thing that happens when Alanon is blasting. He uses blue fire too.
Yeah. I kind of correlated that, like they were kind of doing I hate to use this terminology, but the Star Wars thing of blue versus red, good versus evil.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily a Star Wars thing. That's typical symbolism.
True.
Blue for purity and all that blah blah stuff
Oh,
that
good
your
point.
English teacher would make you study.
You
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah. It's clear though there was no other way that the Reaper would be defeated. He could not be defeated by any manner except through the Elfstones. He was that powerful. So they would have all been dead if he couldn't have overcome his mental block. I don't know if even Alanon would have been able to. Would his power have been more than the Elfstones?
Well,
I think so.
I think it
but
would
I
have
don't want
ended
to
in a
give
draw.
away.
I think it would have ended in a draw.
You think so?
Because once the Reaper got close to him, he would have ripped into him.
Okay.
Alanon doesn't kill instantly, kind of.
But I don't think Alanon would have let him get that close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away before we get to the other chapter, but I think Alanon could have killed the Reaper.
Yeah.
I disagree, actually. I think it had to be Will.
Well, Alanon couldn't go with them because he had to help set up the defense and all.
Well, yeah.
And Will had to have his hero moment.
Yeah. And like you said, I thought Eritrea has, in the last 3 chapters, she has been MVP. If you combine the chapters.
I begrudgingly came to that conclusion and felt guilty for calling her Glenn Close. Fatal Attraction, though. She was sacrificing her life. She would have died.
Well, in all fairness, though, I mean, I didn't trust her either at first, and she just seemed a little creepy. And, you always, at least I always wondered at the beginning, like, what does she stand to gain from this? What does she want from Will? She can't seriously just be interested in helping him, right? And, come to find out that was the case. So I doubted her just as much because, people don't typically do things for free, especially when she came out of that group of rovers that seemed like all they did was, rob and pillage. So I'm like, what does he have that she wants?
That's a good point. I'm not sure Terry Brooks did a good job of showing that she actually had feelings for Will. It was always, well, he's my ticket out of it being sold.
Yeah, I mean, and there was always a seductiveness that I feel like she had about her that she used to her advantage, but I just never really took it for her having feelings for him. I just thought, okay, maybe it's just an attraction and she can use this to her advantage. So yeah, I agree with you on that. That's very well said.
It's clear she does, but it was as though we missed a chapter of development in that area.
Yeah, I think that would have helped at least, to have a little extra something.
Sorry, Terry Brooks, I'm judging you just a little bit. But I really thought the dog was dead at this point. I was really upset
Me too. I'm like, oh no, it's a John Wick moment.
Yeah, it's like everyone else can die, but not the dog. Whew. Meanwhile, in chapter 48, Amberly was inside the blood fire. This is Rennie's favorite part. Oh, before we move on, yeah, Jacob says he thought that Al-Anon. Oh, fuck. Oh, sorry. He thought that Al-Anon was going to appear and kill the Reaper, but yeah, that might make sense. Though it would have.
That would have been a long sprint.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because it's obvious or evident that he doesn't have the powers of teleportation, or else he would have used them instead of riding the horse everywhere. So I didn't think that, but I do feel like he was mentally communicating with Will, and he was like guiding him kind of like he did with his grandfather Shay. So I do think he reached out mentally to him. So he kind of did help kill the Reaper, but it was really Will that did it, but he inspired him.
Yep. Basically, it did use the Force, Luke.
Yeah. But he wasn't dead.
Yeah. Not unlike what happened with Shay, because Shay also heard Al-Anon speaking to him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That was the book where you guys thought Al-Anon was a villain.
Well, because we didn't know. We didn't know if he was good or bad. I'm like, I don't know whether this guy is good or evil. Didn't know whether we should trust him or not.
Yeah, he really didn't completely earn my trust until the very end. Well, let me rephrase that, because when he was helping them a little bit, I guess I felt he had a bit of Dumbledore in him, that he was using them for the greater good, which...
Yeah, he definitely was, kind of.
I'm sure Rowling, well, she got a lot of inspiration from a lot of fantasy, just like everybody else. Because Al-Anon came before Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yes.
Yeah. Good 30 years, or 20 years at least. Well, while Amberly is in the blood fire, and he uses her full name, Amberly Elesadil, with the gentle touch of a mother's hand, was enfolded. I knew exactly what was going to happen. What she had come here to do, she repeated the words in sighs. Such a long journey it had been, such a terrible ordeal. She had been standing there within that dark and empty cavern. And suddenly she had sensed the power. She's kind of talking to herself. And understanding came very slowly. At first she thought it must be the blood fire, for it was the fire to which she had been drawn. It must be the seed she carried, that tiny bit of life given her by the Elcris. The Elcris was sentient. Her seed could be sentient as well. But if it was not the blood fire and it was not the seed, what was left? Then she saw it. And everyone realized, I guessed it. I guessed it last week. I guessed it. It was she. Something within her had warned of the Reaper. Something within her had warned of the blood fire. The warnings had come from within her because they belonged to her. Memories flooded her of the strange influence the Elcris had over it. All that remained was to give life back to the Elcris. And so she closed around the source of that life. The seed began... Oh gosh, the seed began to pulsate softly. Sorry, I shouldn't have giggled, but the imagery is there, because that's what made the penny drop for me last week. The imagery of the seed and the woman giving life to the seed. It was she. Now at last she understood. She held the seed close against her and drew the blood fire in. So the sperm meant the ovary, if you will. The seed. It's the heartbeat of the seed. Yeah, this people saying it. Yeah, Rennie saying it made her sad. Oh gosh, Snail Messiah, he's feeling vindicated. See, I'm not the most dirty minded here. Mhm. Yeah. Giving birth, I mean, all the imagery, the birth to new life, and that she was the one who had to do it. They had hinted that the Elchris, as she said, was sentient. Why was she sentient? Well, because she also at one point had been an elf, a living person.
Did you
So,
find it interesting her eyes were like blood red when she came out of there as well, like the leaves of the Elchris?
mm-hmm. Yeah. It all just fit together like a big puzzle piece that you finally got to shove in. You know, that satisfaction you get after you've been looking for so long. That's exactly how it felt, even though I guessed what it was.
I was like, oh no, Teresa was right. I don't like this. No.
Yeah.
Not that I minded you being right. I just didn't want that to happen. I was like,
I,
no.
yeah, I know it. It was a hard solution, but I can see how it was the only solution that would have made sense with everything that Brooks has set up. Oh, there was just no way. Before we move on to chapter 49, that was actually a rather quick one, Stieg, about this whole revelation.
What about it?
Well, the way it all came together, that it was Amberly all along, that she was destined to become the new Elchris.
Yeah. Well, you nailed it. I remember last time I was like, oh shit, she nailed it.
She gets.
You were very good about keeping quiet on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I did was close my mouth.
That's more than what I can do. And
Yeah, but you're a woman.
oh,
Oh, I was happy with that one.
I'm sure you were.
That was a proper sexist stab. Come on.
It, it was proper. You can pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
You sexist bastard.
Yep.
So, were you sad the way I was sad? But I think Brittany was more sad than me. How are you on the sadness chart?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you sad at all that that's what Amberly? Were you moved? I guess maybe sad's too
No,
strong.
I read it. I read it before.
Well, I know, but when you initially read it, were you sad about it? Or like just like, oh well, that's what she was here for?
I don't remember because shit. This was early. I read it early '90s, right after the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Oh wow. So you could see the parallels.
Yeah. Well, I basically what happened was I'd been reading the Lord of the Rings, and I got The Hobbit for my birthday. My mom had, she figured, oh yeah, he likes that stuff, and this has Tolkien on it too. You know.
Yeah.
She didn't know much about Tolkien and stuff like that at all, and my dad had bought me this book, and it was the same birthday, I think, or the year after, I don't know. So I read um, book two first,
Yeah.
and then I was like, told my dad, hey, this is book two out of several. So he went and bought me another one. I think it was actually, I think I read three after two, and then I read one.
Oh, interesting. Well, good dad. I mean, that's an awesome dad who buys you fantasy books.
Yeah.
Still, Messiah, you're saying what was in the back of my head and perhaps making me feel I was foolish to even ask. Stieg is Norwegian. Moving him is like getting water from stone.
Well, that too.
Yeah. Okay, it made
Aw.
Jacob sad. It made me sad. Poor little elven girl. Oh, yeah. Well, the poor thing couldn't buy a break her whole life. and she felt like she was exiled. She
Well,
hurt her
she's kind of to blame. If she hadn't run off, they could have fixed the Elcris before the demons even broke out. So all the deaths that happened is kind of her fault.
Oh, but okay, I can agree with that to an extent, but put yourself in her shoes. When she was talking about in the previous chapter how the Elcris would only talk to her and would come to her for this, that, and the other, and how frightening and intimidating it was. And, you know, the closer they got, the more frightened she became. And, you know, she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is like really freaking me out. And because of it, it ostracized her. But I don't think she intended to hurt anyone. But, you know.
No, it wasn't intentional. It was just her reaction, kind of.
Yeah, but I probably would have reacted the same. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but this is really starting to freak me out. I gotta go.
Yeah. Well, but doesn't Will say that you don't know that? Like that perhaps if she had stayed, she would have been killed by the Reaper.
Yeah, she could have been killed as a chosen before she had a chance to replace her.
Yeah, but she could have fixed it before that.
Maybe, but we don't know that. I think Will says.
But we know it as readers because we know when the demons appeared. And that was after Amberly had left, like quite a bit after. Because Amberly was gone for a couple of years, I think.
Yes. Well, okay. I can see both points. I'm just saying what Will said. Will said you don't know that. You don't know how things would have unfolded otherwise, that maybe it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And would people have even believed her?
See, that's the thing too. It's since she's the only one that the Elcris spoke to, because I think the Elcris only spoke to everyone else, if I remember correctly from that previous chapter. The only time she spoke to anyone else is whenever she chose the chosen, and that was pretty much it. But the Elcris talked to her, so they're probably like thinking, "Oh yeah, right. She never talks to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody just wants to feel special," or people just would have brushed it off like she was full of crap.
Possible. Sometimes, as my daddy says, woulda, shoulda, coulda. If you think about that, then you'll drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
I did like Eretria's response when she saw the red eyes. She was like, dang, and she like kind of backed away from her. So you saw that she was intimidated, perhaps for the first time, by Amberly.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. She's like, oh crap, I know something's going on here.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, it is done.
Yeah. So, and then what's his name? Perk.
Oh yes, he gave Eretria the whistle.
Yeah, because Amberly and Will were just sleeping
exhausted
on the ground.
Yeah, mm-hmm. They were both worn out.
Yeah, and it was perfect because it comes around full circle, because he'd said, and if you don't hear from us from 5 days, you can go back. And he was like, oh, it's kind of 5 days, maybe it'll be too late. And he goes, use it quickly. And then he's like, blow again. I know. And then, yes, I know, my dirty.
And she was like, aren't you too tired?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Perk comes.
Really?
Oh!
Perk responds and
arrives. He arrives. All right. But there's also a moving part where she's like, it's okay. I'm not afraid. I accept it now. I made the choice. So don't feel bad. And then she's like, I need you so much. So she needed his support, his emotional support for the final part that she needed to do. It was very, very moving. So after the little boy comes, oh, before they say, before they say goodbye, we learn that Drifter's going to be fine. I was so worried because his legs were broken. So I'm glad that they gave us that moment. They're like, it's okay. I fixed him up. He's going to be fine. So they say goodbye to Hebel and the dog and fly away. And that's the end of that chapter. A little bit of explanation, a little bit of exposition. We needed to have that time, in my humble opinion, with Amberly and Will. And of course, just have that moment where Perk comes to fly them home. Really glad he did, because just like in the Return of the King, that would have been a long return journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, very long, and they didn't even know how to get through the mountains on foot.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the Eagles
Meanwhile,
are coming, the Rock is coming. Oh, that sounds weird.
yeah, no, I thought the exact same thing. I have to say it is a parallel.
Yeah.
So, anyways, meanwhile, Al-Anon goes up to the Elcris, and it's like a sadness filled him. He had come to her too late. I think he sensed the blood fire. Yeah, it's like the blood fire has been found. It was all too late. And he lays his staff beneath the tree. Then he turns and walks from the garden. Meanwhile, Mr.
Yeah.
Anderson, Ander is going to his father's bed where that guy was effed up, but he fought like his boss. And he's like, how could he have survived that? And he sat by his father and held his hand. Eventide Elisindil, king of the elves. There would never be another such king. Oh, it was very, very, very sad. And he kissed his father. Oh, excuse me. He kissed his father's cheek. It was so terribly unjust. But alas, we know that something's going to happen. So they said that they had a bad night. The demon was a changeling, etc., etc. How much long do we have? Today. I am sorry. And he's like, Al-Anon, where is the staff? Gone. The Elcris is dead. Then that's the end. So we had, they have all of them in complete despair.
Well, here's the thing though: the Elcris is not completely dead because the seed, which we're told was a part of the Elcris, is still alive.
Oh,
It's
but
just
they
not.
didn't know that, did they?
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
it's just not there in the tree. So basically, there's the Elcris made sure there's an extra life on level 2, right?
Oh my god.
Yes. But Al-Anon still feels that there's a little bit of hope. He's like, follow me quickly. There is still help for us. Now, does he say that because he actually senses that they're on their way? Al-Anon?
He sensed that the Elfstones had been used.
Yes, but didn't he also see Genuine up in there? He's like, Genuine! Thought it was him.
No, that's later on.
Oh,
Yeah, we're not there yet.
okay. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
And for that, you must die.
Yes.
Meh.
Bring the holy razor blade.
Oh, wait, the what?
Crap.
Dang! I didn't know. Things get dark really quickly here at Miss Martin Music. Holy crud. All right, we are at chapter 50. Chapter 50. Daybreak was an hour gone when the demons attacked. So they're all fighting like badasses.
Oh, nice little thing with Steve Jans and Ander. Because Ander asked her, what are our chances? And Steve Jans said, about the same chances your dad has to survive the day, which were slim as hell.
Yeah.
Which I like how that one ended up, because that one had a little bit of an ending to it.
Yes. Hmm. Yeah. And they of course didn't know that, but it was all going to rhyme like poetry. But holy crud, the free cores making it stand. Steejans wrenched free the battle standard and lifted the gray and crimson pennant high above his head, and the free corps battle cry rang out. Then slowly the little band began to move back across the Carolyn, back toward the Elven defenders. Not a single border man broke formation. Not a single border man ran. That imagery was so cool. He was like, I'm going to hold the banner. I love Steve Jans, who I
Yeah.
accidentally called Stan the other day. That was, but it was similar. Then Alanon was moving, and a quick word to Dane, and the dancer's reins were in his hands. This is where he faces off with Daggermore. Daggermore knew that his changeling was dead, and his reaper had failed. His army had stalled, so the Elcris was the key to everything at this point. So Alanon. Oh wait, Daggermore had a staff of power, and demon fire knifed across the morning sky. And the rock and the dancer's pass, Banks suddenly left, shattering the bird's wing. Instantly, Dancer followed and began to spiral downwards. A cry of horror went up from the elves. So he fell down. He was attacked again. The staff of power flared, and again the fire burned into the broken rock. So that was kind of sad.
And Alanon blew the head of the bat that
Yeah.
the Dagda was riding. It just blew the head off him.
Yeah, that was pretty badass. The bat's entire head seemed to explode and disappear, but its momentum carried into the stricken dancer. 30 feet above the Carolyn, the bat and the rock collided, slamming into each other with terrifying force. Locked together, they dropped earthward, carrying their riders with them. Downward they plummeted and struck the ground with crushing force. Dancer shuddered once and lay still. The bat never moved. Now, I didn't give a crap about the bat. I thought it was great that the bat's head exploded, but, Dancer, it's like, oh.
I know. I'm like, oh.
But what a way to go like a boss.
Yeah.
And they just collided and boom. Then Alanon, let's see, slowly the Daggermore dragged himself forward until he stood not 10 feet from the fallen druid. Okay, yeah, Alanon stretched upon the ground, still and burned. One leg was smashed. And as Daggermore is going toward him with his face twisted with hate, in his hand the staff of Barag began to glow. Alanon, Ander heard himself cry out. Perhaps the druid heard. Then he reached deep within some final well of strength, some inner reserve, and the blue fire exploded from him. It burst from his hands and swept the length of the staff of power, smothering the demon fire, coursing through the body of Daggermore. The demon's eyes went wide with horror, and he screamed once, high and terrible. Alanon heaved upward, throwing back the humped form, forcing the demon slowly to his knees. Again, the demon screamed. This is just so awesome. And the druid fire swept through him unhindered, then cloaking him in a shot of blue light until his body exploded into ash and was gone. Well done, Alanon. As Jacob says, Alanon is a bad mofo, but there's a terrible price that Alanon will pay for using this kind of power.
Also, all the demons were kind of unsure if they should attack and rip him to bits, because he's basically within the demon pile at this point, almost. just like
Yeah.
almost like a circle around them. And he just looks at them and gives them a mocking sneer,
Hmm.
like, "Look, I killed your boss."
Yeah.
And then the horse runs out and gets him. Artak.
Yes, Artak is MVP too.
Oh hell yes, he's saved 3 people so far.
Hmm. Yeah, he whistled Artak to him, and the black, alone the black trotted out from the elven lines. Oh, what a guy! So good times, good times. And Artak nudged his shoulder and whickered softly. Oh my gosh, good stuff. And so while they're doing all this and Artak is being awesome, then a flurry of shouts rose all about him. Gwynowyn! It's Gwynowyn! The druid's eyes lifted, and there was the big bird winging its way downward toward Arbalon. And we know that on Gwynowyn is Amberly and all them who's gonna go and become a tree.
Yeah, and the demons go haywire
Mm-hmm.
because
It's
if they destroy the tree, it's over anyway.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they just flood in.
Yeah. Snowball says, all this talk of demons maybe makes me want some coffee. It's how I get summoned in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, some of these battle things are kind of hard to summarize for me. Yeah, you know, them going through because it's like, well, there's some things that are decent, but you just need to read it to get the full feel of what is happening. Oh, it's so good. I really enjoyed these chapters. I like battle chapters. Hey, are we on 50? Oh, 51. I cannot read Roman numerals. Okay, yes, because 51 comes after 50. Anything before I move on to chapter 51?
Basically the defenders are. I think they have like 2 dwarves left, and they've lost most of the free core. You know,
Yeah.
and the elven numbers are low as shit.
Yes.
But
And
just think,
and Alanon is done.
Yeah.
He's out of
Out of commission.
yeah, he's out of ammo.
Mhm.
just think though, how like badass do these people have to be able to withstand that kind of force? And yes, their numbers have dwindled, but how long did it take for that to happen? So
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they fought a really hard battle, and the fact that they still have some people standing is amazing to me. And I don't know, I thought
Well,
that was pretty cool.
it's been weeks too, because they
Yeah.
went north to try and cut them off and delay them, and it just Ander, has been
MVP, dude.
he's not had much sleep, and I'm betting Steve Jans has had even less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well-
Like they fought like what 2 days in a row out in one of the battles,
Yeah,
or 2 nights. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And their bravery and willingness to sacrifice their lives because they knew they were essentially cannon fodder. They were just buying time. They were all willing to die if need be, just to buy time. Such bravery.
Yeah.
And as Steve said, the fact that they held that long. Amazing. So yay. Well, not yay, because Will's here, that's great, but Will's steering downward in horror because the sun was a dazzling burst of white light that made him squint. Within him, the fever still burned. And he is seeing the elven city of Aberlon totally effed up. I mean, bodies everywhere, horses dead, thousands, and demons all over the place. He was conscious suddenly of movement from Amberly. She strengthened slightly. It's like she knows she's almost there. And the lifeless husk that had once been the Elcris stood forgotten. Then Gwynowyn was in the gardens, dropping slowly in. Beyond the hedgerows, the sounds of battle drew closer. Amberly, he called. She was on her feet, and he screamed, Amberly, because she's going up the rise. Be still, healer. Eretria tried to caution him, but he was beyond being cautioned. All he could see was Amberly moving away from him. He was losing her. He could sense it. See, this is a moment where Eretria is the voice of common sense.
Yeah.
Because she's like, hey, it's over. She's gone. And we need her to go and do what she needs to do as quickly as possible. And howls rose from close at hand suddenly, and demons broke from the hedgerows. Perk had Gwynwyn grounded again and just dismounted, and instantly the demons came at him, but the Veilman had seen them. His fist swung around, and the Elfstones gripped within, and blue fire exploded into the demons. So these demons are trying to come, and he's able to use the Elfstones with no problem right now. He has no problem. Then he goes, get away, to the little boy. Fly, Ringed Rider. And Eretria stumbled to his side, again showing that she's a badass. Other demons began to emerge, scattering of the black watch. So they're adding some tension at this moment where Amberly is supposed to go and do what she needs to do. She needs to toss that ring into the gut. Oh, wait, sorry. She needs to become a tree. And atop the rise stood Amberly, arms stretched forth to clasp the trunk of the Elcris. And then at her touch, the tree appeared to shimmer like the waters of a stream. She began to change. Amberly! Will screamed. It's like, shut up, dude. Let her. And her body began to lose its shape, the human form melting, clothing shredding and falling from her. This actually sounds kind of silly. Her upraised arms lengthened and split. Amberly was gone. In her place stood the Elcris, perfectly formed, silver bark, crimson leaves. Yay! And at that moment, a wail of anguish arose from the demons. The forbidding was restored, so she did it just in time. Silence fell over everyone, and in the Garden of Life, Will Almsford wept. I hate to admit it, even though I knew she was going to become a tree, I was almost ready to giggle because it sounded silly. Did they actually do that in the stupid movie or the TV show, Steve, where she becomes a tree?
Yeah, but I don't remember how they did it.
Yeah, because I think any visual of that just would be a little silly. Oh, I thank you, Soul Assassin. L1 equals 51. Thank you. I suck at this. Well, it's over. She did it just in time. Again, I just couldn't help but think of the whole idea of the battle going on and Frodo and all them casting the ring into the fire just in time. But it's a thing. So yay. I can relate to poor Will and kind of screaming and not wanting his girl to turn into a tree. I mean, what can I say? The poor guy.
Now Amberly will know what it's like to have nuts and wood.
Oh.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, that made me so sad. It made me so sad. I actually shed a little tear for Will and Amberly because I really thought they were going to wind up together. Especially in light of Al-Anon mentioning earlier on about Will's elven blood being so diluted. I was like, okay, he's probably going to marry an elf, and it'll probably be her because, they talked about the magic of the Elfstones, basically being powerful because of the elven blood and all that stuff is the only thing that made sense. And as they became closer and closer, it's like, okay. And then it's like, oh, that's not right.
No.
Yeah. And yeah. Jacob anticipated what you were going to say because just as you said it, he commented, I really feel sorry for Amberly to become a tree. Think of all the wood jokes. Mm-hmm. No, that doesn't work in third person, says Black Pilled Timon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything you all said. So, chapter 52, the elves found him. He goes to sleep with his requisite, I'm sick because I just had a big battle. And he wakes up to Al-Anon.
Well, didn't something happen to Eventide before that, or was that after?
That was after. That's going to be, I believe, in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is so Harry Potter Dumbledore, because all the Harry Potter books ended the same way except for the last the last two, where he wakes up and Dumbledore explains everything. But again, this was first, so rather it's the other way around. And he goes, "You knew, Al-Anon, you knew all the time. You used me. And couldn't you at least have told her?" And he said, "No, Vailman, she would not have believed me. She would not have let herself. It would have been too much to ask for her." I mean, she had fled just in some of the revelations she was getting from the Chosen. So I'm sorry, the Elcris. It makes sense that if he'd have said, "By the way, you're going to become the Elcris," yeah, she would have run away like her hair was on fire.
Yeah.
And officially, of course, it was revealed that the Elcris was also a chick at one time. And that this makes sense because it's joining of the land, and elves are all a bunch of tree huggers. So it makes perfect sense that that this was the solution, that this had been part of that great magic. This also explained why there were so few women chosen, because the Elcris was thinking she was about to die and wanted to choose a woman as the chosen, because it had to be a chick who could reproduce with the seed. That wouldn't go over today. Too many. Well, what's a woman? Men can get pregnant too, but
Oh yeah.
It's a thing. That was the whole thing about why it was so rare for a woman. So there's just a lot of exposition, but not really a lot to say. I think he kind of repeats himself a little bit, and he tells him it had to be her free choice. Then he says, "I gotta go," because Al-Anon is like gray and worn out and all this. And he's like, "Dude, I way used too much magic," so he's gonna have to go into his coma thing a lot sooner than he has in previous times. Oh, he does say, "Tell Flick he was right about me. He will like that."
Oh, I love that line. That made me laugh.
Yes.
Oh, and he left Will the horse, Ortak.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And he, tells him go off and become a healer. Go, and that's gonna all be awesome. Wasn't it at this point, Steve? You pointed this out, that he says that they were the last of their fellowship from the first book. That it was only Flick and Shay.
Yeah, he pointed out that only Flick and Shay remains of the group that set out to find the Sword of Shannara in book one.
Mm-hmm.
Which means Menyon and the two elves have passed away before book two as well.
Mm. Yeah. Such is the way of things.
However, Panemon Creel might still be alive. He technically counts. He never met Al-Anon.
That's true. And he wasn't really a part of the group. He was
That
a friend of.
that actually was something I thought about today when we're done with book three. Maybe we could do a stream about the short stories that tie into book one, two, and three to get the whole package, because there's quite a few surprises in those that I think you guys will really like. I know there's one about the first one is about Al-Anon, and then it's Panamon and Flick going on an adventure.
But that
Oh,
sounds interesting.
I was gonna say.
Yes, and there's a Steve Jans one,
Okay, you've sold me.
and one about that really ties together something that is excellently awesome.
Nice. Well, I think we'd been talking about that in our private chat. That if I was going to read some more, I would go back and read those short stories. And
Yeah, I have them on PDF, so I could just send them, and they're numbered
Oh.
as well, so you can do them in order.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's one about Perk.
That would be interesting because he's I don't know. I think he's an adorable character and just so sweet and kind and loving life, being a wing rider or wing rider in training. So
Well, I know I have at least one of them. You sent it to me during the hurricane when I was out of stuff to read. And I can put them all together.
Yeah. And there is a manga that takes place after book 3, which I also have on PDF.
Excellent. All right, you heard it here first, everyone. After the third book, you're correct. Just one stream would do that. Tree Amber, get it? Said Jacob Ironside. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I was looking ahead because there is a very quick moment before Al-Anon goes where he looks in on the king on Eventide, and we know that he's still alive because he stirred. So
yeah, which I thought it was cool that Steve Jans said they had as much chance as Eventide had surviving the night, and he did.
yeah,
yay! So it all came full circle.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And then it moves over to Ander. They really point out how much he has lost because it says he's thinking of those that were gone. Arian, his brother, Pindanon, Crispin, Elronte, Karen, all dead. It's like, oh, memories haunted him. Memory of his father, what had been, what was supposed to be. And he's trying to comprehend what had happened to Amberly and her transformation, a lot on his shoulder. Then suddenly he hears his father call his name, Ander. Ander, what has happened? It is over, he replied softly. We have won. The demons are locked once more within the foreboding, the Elchris. But he did not finish. He didn't have the words. Eventide goes, Amberly. Ander took a deep breath and said, safe, resting now. So he didn't quite tell him the truth, but he told him the truth. There was a long pause. A trace of a smile slipped across his father's face. Then his eyes closed, and then he died. So I thought that was a very nice touch, very moving. Oh dear. A lot of things about Amber.
I just felt it was so sad. Like basically almost Eventide's entire line died out except for Ander. Because Amberly, is she really Amberly anymore when she's the Elchris? I mean, the Amberly we know is dead to me. And then, her father died a long time ago, Anne, and then, her uncle died in battle. So, Ander is the last person left in Eventide's family. I'm like, oh.
Even the dog died.
Oh, you're right.
and his best friend, Pindanon.
Pindanon, yeah.
Who was female in the show.
Ew.
Yuck.
Jerks. Well, he needs to find himself a elven queen and start making lots of babies.
And he will.
Yay! We endorse making lots of babies.
The Elfstones family is not gone.
Yay. That makes me happy.
Yay.
And little spoiler for future books. A couple of them become druids.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
And then Alanon comes in. The elven prince rises and says, he's gone. It's like, well, then you are the king. Be the king he would have wanted you to be. Hmm. And then Alanon goes away, this time for real. Perk then visits Will. How are you feeling? A little better. Oh, so cute.
Yeah,
Perk is
I thought that
adorable.
was sweet. He's
Yeah.
such a sweetie.
Yeah, he says, I should have left last night, but I had to rest. Gwynolyn, she was pretty tired after that long flight, but I have to leave now. I should have been home 2 days ago. They're going to be searching for me, but they'll understand when I explain what happened. They won't be mad. And he says my uncle Dane would explain it to them. Oh, and he says I couldn't just leave you. I knew you might need me. And he says we needed you very much. Then he says I'm sorry about the lady Amberly. I really am. Then he goes, she was really enchanted, wasn't she? She was an enchanted, and the enchantment turned her into a tree. I really liked her. I liked her too, said Will. And then the little ring rider goes away. So we have a lot of long goodbyes. It's sad, it's cute. I like to imagine that they would all see each other later, like maybe when Perk is all grown up and
Well, Will promised to visit, I think,
yeah.
and Will keeps his word, so he probably did.
Yes. So we go on to chapter 53. Long goodbyes. We lost Alanon went away. The wing riders went away. The land elves went. The dwarves, the rock trolls.
Well, no, the dwarves stayed to help rebuild, I think.
Well,
Well,
no,
yeah, eventually. They
they
stayed several
left.
days longer. Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Before they left, they helped them rebuild with their vast engineering expertise.
But didn't they say when they were leaving they would send like refresh trolls that it could actually help them further
Well,
or whatnot?
dwarves.
Or I'm sorry, dwarves. I don't know why I was thinking
Yeah.
trolls. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Yes, says yes, correct. When he finally did take leave of Ander and the elven people, he did so with the promise that another company of dwarf sappers in better condition would be sent at once to give whatever aid was necessary. He goes, "We know we can depend on the dwarves."
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And also, for the first time in like forever, there's peace between the trolls and the elves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I like too, because that.
And that one has impact on what happens in later books.
Nice.
That there was a big deal.
Z3PO, hello, says Rennie has dwarves on her mind. The superior race, as Steve always says.
Yeah, red meat off the bone.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
And then last it was Alanon. Not Alanon, rather. Steve Jans. He had survived where so many others had not. I think there was, what does it say? Not a dozen of them were left. So less than 12. And he came to Ander to take his leave. Says the Legion rides again for Callahorn, rather. And he says that basically the Legion won't be reformed, but maybe we can go for another cause. Maybe we can form a different kind of a Legion. He says, I will ask for command in any case. Ander says, ask me, Steve Jans, ask me, and the command is yours. I would be honored to have you. You are one of us. I loved that.
Yeah, same here. I want to see more of that. I want to see that alliance come to pass and him to be part of the elf army or the leader of the elven army. That would be cool.
Yes. And he says, I'm already considering it, King Ander. Yeah. Please do. Thus they all went home, all those who had come to Aberlon to stand with the elves, all the brave ones, all but two. One was the Valeman, Will Almsford. Mm. And what does Will do? He takes a little visit to the tree. He said this
Yeah.
visit to her was his first step.
Took a piss.
Oh no!
Rubbed his wood on her bark.
Yeah. Just
Genie, man.
started grinding against it.
He needed closure.
Hey, he's not Prince Harry.
Fair enough.
Prostrated himself for the roots.
Oh! Yes, Jacob, Steve Jans is a legend.
Yes.
Rennie, says Snail Messiah. Yes, he's shocked. He's sad because he couldn't save her. As he says, he couldn't save her from the Elcris, but he knew that that was not anything he could ever have done. Oh, dear. And so while he's looking at her, this thing of exquisite beauty, the Elcris, he goes, Amberly. And at that moment, a mother brings her little girl and tells her, see, look, the Elcris is back. Yay, it's all pretty. He realizes the impact of what happened. It's going to be a tale told for a long time.
Did either of you guys expect the Elcris to talk to Will during this scene?
I didn't actually.
I was kind of hoping for it, just like a last goodbye, or like keep in touch, or come visit me from time to time. I don't know. I wanted some sort of goodbye between them, and I don't feel like they really got it.
Yeah, maybe like the branch would touch him on the head, or a leaf would fall down. I don't know.
Well, he was told that all he had to do was put his hand on the earth.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then she would talk to him.
Mm.
So I expected something like that to happen, and it's just, I'm like, oh, weak.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I do like the way when the mother tells the little girl she's well again, she's talking about the Elcris, but that could also refer to Amberly because Amberly was so broken and so sad. And the little girl goes, she is so pretty. And once again, Will thinks Amberly. And he walks slowly away.
No.
I know, it's sad. But I'm with you. They should have had something. Or maybe the wind could have blown. Like a breeze.
Yeah. Some sort of sign, or some sort of, so he would have had like an actual closure, because, he's so heartbroken at this point in time. And I felt for him really badly. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, poor dude. So as he's walking away all sad, he sees Eretria. This I thought was cool. She's not wearing her rover silk. She's wearing ordinary elven garb. And she was stunningly beautiful now. I saw some symbolism in there that she's a different person now. She's one of them, one of him. Her long hair shimmered in the sunlight. He walked to her. You look like a whole man again, she says. You're the one who got me back on my feet. Then she says, are all the ghosts laid to rest at last, healer? And he said, maybe they're resting now. And he's going to go back with Arctac to Storlock to finish his studies and to become a healer. He talks about the Elfstones. He says, I'm going to keep them, but I will never use them again. Well, he won't need to use them again.
Yeah.
Or will he?
That's true. We don't know that.
There's a 20-year time skip till book 3.
True.
Well, but if he has offspring by that time, he could be telling the truth, and he could give those elf stones to said son or daughter.
Yeah, but would he want them to use them though, given what they might have done to him?
Probably not,
Mhm.
but I mean, he would keep his word, but he probably also would understand that they might need him because it helped him in his finest hour at the 11th hour.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
What
with
what what score would you guys give this book? From 1 to 10.
well, hold on to that thought because we just have one more point to make before we conclude this. Because what happens is she tells Will, "You are for me. I told you." Then he looks at her and realizes, "Yes, I need you." She said, "And will you come with me to stores?" She said, "I would if you really mean it." He says, "Yes." She goes, "You have come to your senses." And as they're walking away, sorry, Ander sees them and they're holding hands. And it looked very much as if Will Almsford, too, would be going home now, but not alone. The end.
Very well wrapped up this book, I think.
Hmm.
Because in book one we didn't really get the goodbyes, did we?
No, that was the worst part of the book. Actually, I was very disappointed in that.
Yeah, I will agree with that point as well, but I would have liked, this is just me. I would have liked to see Will and Eritrea go into the Vale, him talk to Flick and to his grandfather Shay about this whole mess, and have some parallels with him, and then Flick be like, "I told you so about Al-Anon," and be like, "Yeah, you were right, Uncle Flick." I just wanted that
Hmm.
kind of conversation to happen. I felt like a little bit gypped because of that, but I think that would have been a better a better way to sign off on it. That's just me personally.
Yeah, there should have been a little epilogue.
Yeah,
Will entering the inn that the Elmsfords are running in Shady Vale,
yeah,
and Flick sitting there and just staring at him and going, "I told you so." And
yeah.
and
That would have been
and
great, right?
yeah, and Will just saying, "Yes, you did,"
That actually,
or Al-Anon agrees with you.
yeah, that would have been cute. But oh well, we can't always get what we want. Now let's go back to Stieg's original question. I'll start with you, Rennie, because no pressure. What would you give this out of 10?
So I will say, because of the tragic ending, it kind of brought down the book for me a little bit. So um, I did like the first book better. So I would probably give this about a 7 at the most.
Hmm.
So I'll go with 7, because it was good writing, but and they did provide the foreshadowing for it if we paid enough attention. I know last time when we talked we were like, foreshadowing, and
Mhm.
then you guessed exactly what was going to happen, and I'm like, oh gosh, no, no, but
Mhm.
it's the only ending that made sense. But it's just all these things that I felt like could have been wrapped up better. I think where where it kind of fell apart just a little bit for me. It was still a great book. It's just the wrapping up, and then maybe having a little bit more, I don't know, the feelings between Will and Amberly wound up being for naught, and that was really sad. And then Will leaving with his, like, you know possible side crush. It was just weird for me. I don't know, it just didn't feel resolved.
Mm. That's fair. How about you, Stieg?
Um, an 8. I thought the witch stuff was not needed.
Hmm.
I'll agree with that for
Yeah,
sure.
it was a cool addition to the world, but and I guess they needed a danger in that area because they said it was really dangerous, but it could have been monsters or something. I don't know. I thought that, yeah, the the witch stuff was. It's not that it was bad, but it felt off, and it would have been. It was a bit convenient. The ending, though, I like the ending. Actually, it's a bittersweet ending, um, and it's different from the one in the first book.
Hmm.
Because you don't want two similar endings in a row, especially when the beginnings are so similar, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like Shay and Flick more than I like Will,
Yes, they were far more likable.
Yes.
and I think Al-Anon stole the show in this one.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, Steve, because I know that you really like this book. I'm surprised that your
Well,
score wasn't.
8 out of 10 isn't bad, you know, and it's
Like a B.
yeah, and even though it's one of my favorite books, that doesn't mean it's a 10 out of 10.
Oh,
I'm looking at it objectively. I mean,
yeah.
one of my favorite movies is Tremors. That's not a 10 out of 10 movie.
No, but
No.
entertaining it is.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
it's fun, and so yeah, I'm landing on an 8 on for this one, and then I think I gave the first one an 8 too.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Jacob Ironside agrees with you.
uh, I would say the first one is adventure fantasy, while the second one is horror fantasy.
Yes.
I mean, I do like that element of the horror, but horror, but I feel like it was overused. Like when you have horror with fantasy, like you have to have a good balance. I feel like there was a lot more horror than fantasy in this book.
Yeah, it's because you have Ander and Alanon in one of the branching stories, and you have Amberly and Will in the other one, and both are horror themed.
Yeah.
While in the first one, um, you had that one branched out 3 times because you had Menion as well. You know,
Yeah.
uh, you had Menion, and then but only the Shay storyline branched out into horror ish.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Jacob agrees about the witches, and he didn't like Philip and Shay.
in this book,
Yeah,
Well,
that's what he
Shay
says.
didn't.
Yeah.
Shay wasn't really in this book, but Flick was. But Flick
Yeah.
was funny to me. He was a cranky old man. I'm like, well, nothing's really
Hmm.
changed. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe what Shay became. Yeah. Um. Hey, I'm gonna be that cranky when I'm old. I'm just telling you. Yeah. I don't know if you want to expand on that, Jacob. Yeah, I'm thinking with everyone. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I think I enjoyed the first one better because I did like the characters better.
Yeah, I think so. The characters were a lot more likable. I
Hmm.
remember, I want to say that you and I, at the beginning of this book, were kind of like, I don't really know if I like Amberly. She like whines and complains like all the time and fights
Hmm.
back. And, then looking back, I'm like, I kind of understand why she did now. So that makes perfect sense.
Hmm.
But as she still wasn't as likable as like Will and Shay and Minion Lee and uh what's the name of the dwarf in the first book?
Handel.
Hindle, thank you. I kept wanting to say Hemlock, and I know that's not his name. And so they were just a lot more fun and likable than I think these characters were as far as the protagonists go. So that might be, what kind of made me like this book less than the first one.
I think in the first one, you guys had a couple of characters you didn't like early on as well,
Mm-hmm.
that you
Yeah.
ended up liking later on. I think Panamon was one of them.
Yeah, because he seemed like kind of like a bad guy at first, and it's like, okay, he's not so bad.
Yeah, and Alanon a little bit.
Yeah. Well, didn't trust him. I don't know if I didn't like him, but I didn't know whether I should. Didn't trust him.
Yeah. Yes to all of that. Oh, Jacob says we will all be cranky when we get old. When we get that old, especially Steve.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I'm almost there. I'm getting there. I can.
I feel like I'm not cranky sometimes. Not
If we are, we've earned it. Well, I feel like we've been on this big journey. I feel very overwhelmed right now trying to wrap it up, but really good discussion. Jacob Ironside, thank you. You've been with us the whole way, reading along with us. MVP, uh, everyone in the chat that comes in and hangs out always have good insights and funny things to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be moving on next week with the Wish Song of Shannara because we had so much break in December. We're not gonna take a break this week. Gonna do chapters 1 through 6 in the same bat time, same bat channel. Any final thoughts, summaries, something you have not said? I'm gonna start with Rennie.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify. I didn't dislike this book. I still gave it a 7 out of 8 or 7 out of 10. Derp.
A 7 is not a bad score.
Yeah, so the ending was what kind of did it for me, but I will say I did thoroughly enjoy one of the last chapters where I think it's 52 or 53 where Will really reads Al-Anon the Riot Act. And I thought that was pretty good because I feel like Shay challenged Al-Anon, but he wasn't very openly belligerent about it like Will was. And that just kind of goes to show how much influence Flick may have had on Will. So that kind of cracked me up, and I really did enjoy that part of that chapter, even though I was a little salty about the way it ended. I did appreciate him just letting it all hang out and Al-Anon taking every bit of it.
I still think Menion did it best.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Just looked at him and went, "I don't answer to you."
Yeah.
Minion is still one of my favorite characters from the whole thing.
We just didn't get enough of him.
Yeah.
I have to agree. He is great.
So in both books so far, Menion is your favorite.
I must say so. I think yes, because he's the one I still have just warm and fuzzy feelings for. Just really like him.
Well, that's a tough one. I don't know who my favorite character would be. I want to say Minion was my favorite from the first book. I don't know if I have a favorite character from this book. Would it be maybe Steve Jans?
Oh yes, Steve Jan's awesome. He's probably my favorite in this one too. Well, I liked Andrew. Andrew and Steve Jans were pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Andrew gets a good honorable mention in that. He really stepped up his game, and he wound up being pretty freaking courageous.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry Brooks is superb at having interesting side characters. Because the side characters tend to steal the show quite often.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
That's not also not uncommon. I think about Star Wars. You have Luke Skywalker, but a lot of people's favorite is Han Solo
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
or even Darth Vader. Yeah, hello, zombie. Wow. And then did hand it over to you, Steve? If you want the floor,
Uh, in what regard?
everything like any burning desires left over.
No, but just greatly looking forward to book three
Hmm.
because I don't remember much about it. I remember it having a hell of a lot of cool characters in it. Um, it could be nostalgia glasses though that I just remember the good parts.
Hmm.
But it also has that trope of Al-Anon telling, "Yeah, hey, this is what's wrong. We need to do something, or everyone will die."
Oh,
You know. But there's throwbacks to the first book, I guess, a little bit in this, and also to this book,
okay.
and a big one, which is revealed in one of the short stories, which you won't
Ooh.
know unless you read that one. And that is it's a thing I think both of you will really enjoy.
Cool. Well, this is so much fun, and thank you, Steve, for recommending this series. I think it's been a lot of fun. It's my first real introduction to Terry Brooks. The only other thing I've read by him was the Phantom Menace adaptation. So, yay. And yeah, Jacob liked Steve Jans and he liked Handel too. Yeah,
Yeah,
Handel was pretty cool.
I am not disagreeing with him on that because those two rank high. Because dwarf, it was an awesome dwarf.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and Steve Jans is a big fan favorite in the Terry Brooks community.
Yeah.
Will we get to see more of
Not gonna say anything,
Ah, that means yes.
them?
but if you don't see him, his legacy carries through significantly.
He's gonna make babies. Jacob says the Wish Song of Shannara. How many chapters? Well, if you're talking about the total chapters, I'm not
Know
sure.
how many for next time?
Oh, for
Probably.
next week, what chapters 1 through 6? Yeah, that's what I was wondering if it was that or the total. Yeah, so we're gonna do chapters 1 through 6, and I think the length is generally the same length as the Elfstones.
Yeah, it's about. I think it. Well, in the book I have, it's 71 pages,
Okay.
Hmm.
Yay!
and the book is about 500 pages, and 500 pages isn't a lot if you think about it.
No.
If we're doing 70 pages a week, imagine if we were not streaming and just reading it in general.
Yeah.
We'd be done in a week or two, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was averaging last spring. Oh, okay. Yes. How many books are there?
Oh, around 40. But the first ones they function as standalone books, so that's why we're reviewing them. I don't think we're doing all 40.
No, no. We're stopping after 3.
Yeah. So these the three we're doing now are the first three published, but there are books that takes place before these books in the timeline, but they were released later.
The King of Shannara.
Yeah, and
The first King of Shannara.
yeah, and a couple of others. The first King of Shannara is awesome, actually. It's adventure-ish like the first one.
Mm. Yep. Steve's read all 40 of them.
Yeah. Well, basically, when I started reading, um, I read the first three, and then oh shit, there's more. So I read the next series and the first King of Shannara, and then I was almost caught up. So I basically bought them as they came out.
Mm.
So it was one Shannara book per year almost, right? So
Oh wow.
if you think about it like that, it's not a it's not as big a deal as it sounds.
Yeah.
Because reading a book is like watching a season of a TV show, once per year. So yeah,
Yeah. But that
it's
was what.
basically been a thing with Terry Brooks and R.A. Salvatore, because they would release at least one book per year. So it was kind of like, yeah, okay, now it's the Terry Brooks time of the year, right? So it basically became an annual thing.
Yeah. Oh no, I remember those days. The same with the Star Wars books as they were coming out.
Yeah,
But dang, this is like what 25 years of your life then.
yeah. And I was reading Robert Jordan in between there, and I started reading Raymond Feist, and then I took a break, and then when I picked them up again, I was like, oh shit, this is better than I remembered. So I just poured through the rest of them.
Mm.
So yeah, and then I got hooked on other series in between there. Song of Ice and Fire, Terry Goodkind, The Sword of Truth
Hmm.
books.
Cool.
So
Well,
it's going to be weird when Brooks stops writing, because well, damn. Well, I might reread the other books though and just keep it going. You know,
yeah. The other ones is that I forget what that's called.
Terry Brooks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's written the Landover books,
Thank you.
which are more humor fantasy. Actually, I think both of you would love those.
Hmm.
They're very heartwarming books.
Oh.
Um, it's basically a lawyer who's fed up with life, finds an ad in a newspaper where it says you can buy a fantasy land, which looks ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he does it anyway, and it turns out, yeah, it's true.
That's
But
fun.
it's not in as good a shape as it was advertised. It has a lot of problems. There's a narcissistic psycho dragon flying around, and a crazy witch, and yeah,
Oh
all
gosh,
kinds of stuff.
narcissists are the worst, let alone a
Oh
dragon.
God, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his butler is a dog walking on its hind legs because the court wizard accidentally turned him into a dog and
Yikes.
lost his spell book, so he can't turn him back.
That sucks. Never lose your spell book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jacob says he's going to try to find the Shanner books in hardback. And did they publish the shorter stories in a single volume? They should have.
Yes, they did. It was called. He actually released them in in a book just a few years ago. It's called. Oh, shit, what was it called?
It will be found.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
half price books.
magic something.
Okay. Half price books and eBay is your friend, or
Oh
are your
yes.
friend.
Yeah, they released an annotated
Yes.
annotated Sword of Shannara hardcover a while ago, um, which was some kind of anniversary. And there's also a hardcover anniversary of the whole trilogy together.
Mhm.
Mm.
I think that's the one you have, Rennie.
Yeah, the one with the orangey
Yeah,
looking
that
sword on the
that, that one
front.
was a bargain, by the way, because it's $70 on Amazon.
Jeez.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Grim Oak Press are releasing super editions of the early Shannara books, as well as the Feist books and all kinds of stuff, with full page, gorgeous illustrations and stuff. But they cost like $100 each.
So they're not going to have any like added material or stuff that maybe
No,
was
it's just
edited out. Okay.
ultimate edition, proper hardcover, leather bound, I think.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But eBay is your friend. Just search for Terry Brooks hardcover and just sort by the lowest price.
Yeah, you'll never know what you're going to find. Well, time to wrap up this party. Rennie, where can we find you?
Well, next Saturday I shall be back with you two talking about the Wind Song of Shannara. Or the Wish Song, sorry. I don't know why I want to say Wind Song for that one.
I don't know.
And then soon, we are going to be talking about The Godfather 2 on Mr. Brown Alliance channel, and hopefully a certain mystery guest will join us. But,
Yeah. Oh, I'm planning to be there.
yay! So yeah, that's happening in February. But I think that's all that's on the agenda at the moment. Because lately, as busy as life has been for me, it's just been taking it day by day. So
Okay. Well, cool. So be sure to follow Rennie on Twitter, and when she's on, come and give a wave to her. How about you, Steek?
Well, this channel next Saturday, and maybe Mora's channel on Thursday for a Terminator 2 talk.
Okay.
So it's yeah. If I'm awake, if I'm not awake, then well, Mora will do it with Orange Hat reviews. So
Yeah, go ahead and sub to Jade Shadow if you have not already. Jacob Ironside says, always great to hang with y'all and talk about good literature. Well, thank you. You see, that warms my stone cold heart. That's why I do what I do. I want to share this with people. Jacob says, I have a Star Trek 6 stream this Tuesday. Yes, he does. Yes. This Tuesday night. And then I'm going to be on the following Tuesday, I believe, for the Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Princess Bride after that. So please tune in. Jacob, please feel free to put your link in the chat. Lots of good movie discussions. Oh, Rennie's just saying, aw. Okay. And you can find me here in Miss Martin Muses. I'm going to be, let me see. Well, I have my musings or my Teresa travels during the week. Next one for the Teresa travels will be one of my Ireland trips. The Tuesday night, I have a special edition at 6 o'clock Central. Myself and Geeky Crochet will be talking our crochet projects, especially our geeky ones. I have some new things to show off since our last stream, and she has too. I know one of them. She had on her Twitter a cute little dragon, so please tune in for that. Also, new videos every Wednesday at 12 p.m. I'm not sure what this one is going to be, but it will be either a Sauron J.R.R. Tolkien letter, a House of the Dragon with Fire and Blood video, or Irish Fairies. Those are the ones that are coming up. I'm just not sure how they're going to be scheduled. Oh, Zombie's going to be doing a Doctor Who discussion. Oh my goodness.
nice.
Yeah, but Doctor Who, hopefully the happy version.
The good Doctor Who.
Yeah, the good Doctor Who, not the what it is, not the Doctor Who that puts us all into despair. I need to rewatch the stream from the beginning, seeing I missed most of it. Oh, well, no problem. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I just appreciate you being here. It's always a good time. So that's it. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain.
Always check female trees for nuts.
That too. Yes, and be certain not to use your mother's face cream on your frostbitten body part.
It might be frostbitten, but it's not cool to think about your